Shalom. I'm a former member of Sicarii Hollywood in LA County, run by Bazak. And I wanted to address some issues that were never addressed while I was a member of the body. There's two main issues I've had that I want to address. And one is, why is Bazak allowed to extort new members, prospects, and why he's allowed to extort new soldiers, and why he's allowed to run a Ponzi scheme with his apparel company. Shalom. I'm a former, and why do I say extortion? Well, prospects and new soldiers are immediately met with, if you want to support the body, it'd be a good idea for you to give alms to the camp. Which is not an issue in itself, but when you do give the alms, it doesn't go back to the camp. It goes directly into his pocket. As far as my example personally, he told me if I gave him alms, he can guarantee that I passed the soldier's test. I also saw him badger a new soldier to buy him a watch using that soldier's credit, right? Saying things like, why don't you support your sergeant? You know, you have good credit. I'll pay the bill. Just put this on your credit. Which everybody knows in Sicarii that Bazak is not going to pay you back. It's also funny that one of his nicknames amongst the soldiers, one of many nicknames, was the extortionist. Here comes the extortionist. One soldier that left, he badgered him into buying plane tickets to Atlanta. All right, and the soldier didn't have a problem doing it. He just asked Bazak to make sure he got paid back because he had bills coming up. And of course, Bazak never paid him back. Right, which would put that soldier deeply in debt. He was disgruntled, and he eventually left. And of course, the real reason why he left was never addressed. It was blamed on an entirely different issue. One soldier that you went back to the higher ups and said, this soldier has a problem going on trips, right? He doesn't want to leave work. He's worried about finances. That's the way you painted it. But the real issue is, he didn't have a problem doing it. He just had a problem paying for you to go on these trips. He had a problem with you in his inbox, asking him for money. That's what the issue is. It wasn't with the soldier not wanting to be dedicated to Sicarii. He didn't want to be dedicated to your pockets. You went back. Now, the reason why I say he's running a Ponzi scheme is because you would order product and he would pocket some of the money. And in order to get your order fulfilled, he would have to wait until someone else bought. And he had no problem explaining that to you. And then when you would have some concerns about it, right, and address the situation with him, things quite normally would get heated. And at that point, he would deem you out of order because he's the sergeant. How dare you talk to a sergeant that way? And then he'll go to the higher ups and say the issue is about being out of order, right? And the issue about the Ponzi scheme would never be addressed, and that would just get swept under the rug, time and time again. And I'm not the only brother that this happened to. And the personal issue, another personal issue I had with the brother is, I gave him a lot of money to help him pay for his rent and for bills to be paid. And when I approached him about this issue, right, the normal thing would be to say, you know, I can't pay you right now. You know, Salakia, I'll pay you when I get the money. But he doesn't say that. he immediately goes to, oh, it was just alms, which that was never the case. It wasn't alms. You said you'd pay me back. And again, helping brothers is not the issue. The issue is he's changing the story so he doesn't have to pay you back, right? And while he owes you money and merchandise, he'll show up to camp with a new watch, new shoes, right? And flaunt it in your face. Right? He said he's gonna have trouble paying his bills when he got back because the expenses he had to pay to get to Atlanta. So I said, no problem. I'll give you some money to help you out, right? Thinking it's for bills when he gets back. That very same day, he goes shopping with the money I gave him. Needless to say, I was pretty pissed off. And I say all that to say this. We need to get to the real reason why brothers are leaving and why brothers are getting kicked out, right? We need to stop lying, right? You need to stop throwing dirt on brothers' name just to hide your issues, right? We have an officer in sicarii who's treated you very well, right? And now you're trying to sully his name and put him in a negative light when all he's done was help you. But because you can't address the issue honestly, right, you're gonna throw out all these smoke screens, right, and try to cover up the real issues, right? This officer has our respect because we trust him, right? We trust him with our brotherhood, we trust him with our finances. And we trust him to say that you think it's okay, or maybe it is okay, I don't know. But this needs to be addressed. Why you feel you can panhandle at camp. You grab the microphone at camp and panhandled for 45 minutes. You didn't edify anybody. You didn't tell Israelites that were walking up and down to keep the commandments. For 45 minutes, you begged white people to give you money. You told them if they felt bad for the treatment of black and brown people, that they would give you money. You didn't even say the camp. And nobody said anything during the camp. Because you're the sergeant. So we just let you go for 45 minutes. And when camp was over, we were embarrassed, extremely embarrassed, that you would do that in the name of sicarii. And nobody said anything. Say something real quick about TSF tassels and the officer that's running to Larry up in Central Valley, California. Right? Brothers are being called insubordinate. Meanwhile, you're allowing brothers to have Thanksgiving dinner. You're allowing brothers to say F Chief and what Chief says. That's a direct quote. Everybody heard it. And you're allowing these things to happen. And Bazak is allowing these things to happen. All right, which is far worse than someone saying B or calling you a B or a hoe because you're taking advantage of them. Say something real quick. Why do you think it's okay for you to take advantage of Israelites and overcharge them for your tassels? When brothers came to you saying you're charging too much for these tassels, your answer was to call the internet police and have this brother's page taken down who was selling tassels at a much better price. How brotherly is that? Also, I find it quite sad because that's sodomitish behavior. And speaking of sodomitish behavior, you might want to explain why you like doing things to your backside during intercourse and why they would allow such a person to become an officer. That needs to be addressed as well. So basically, in a nutshell, we should find out the real reason why there's so much turnover in LA County, particularly within Long Beach, now Hollywood. Why brothers are unhappy. Why there's always big council calls amongst the members of Hollywood, because Bazak wants to portray them as out of order, when in actuality, they have no respect for him, because everything I just said in this video, everybody in Hollywood knows what's going on with Bazak. And that's why there's no respect. That's why he gets talked to the way he does. And that's why we're being called out of order. Nobody respects this man. So hopefully, before any of those good brothers leave, these issues can be addressed, right? And let's address the real reason why brothers are being called out of order.